I feel like we are constantly adjusting and tweaking things either day of based on how we feel or how we show up to the practice. Any athlete that I've ever had come and do a full USRPT set with me usually can't get through half of it. Our relationship, most of my life revolved around swimming.
All right, Michael Andrew, we got you on. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
So we have a tradition on this podcast where the guest of the previous episode leaves a question for the future guest, not knowing who it's going to be.
Yeah.
And the previous guest, which you know, asked, "What's your life motto?"
My life motto. Oh my goodness. So I think my life motto for the longest time has been do or do not. There is no try. So it's Yoda. And I think it's weird how this came about, but I remember when I was signed with Adidas, they gave me a pair of sweatpants and they're like, hey, do you want to put anything like specific inside it on the tag? And I was like, well, it's got to be short. And so I was kind of I was like researching, looking for things like what's powerful. But I think that's kind of been my life mottos. Do or do not. There's no tries. Like when I was little, I used to always say, oh, I'll try to do this, or I'll try to swim fast, or I'll try to hit my turn. But I realized you can kind of control everything, like anything that's in your like realm of being able to control. So it's just kind of do it.
You know what's crazy is obviously this was Caleb's question.
Yeah.
And Caleb's life motto was giddy up or giddy out.
Oh,
It's
like
basically it's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
And he put it on his new DeBoer suit.
Yeah.
On the inside, right? That's what he
awesome.
said. There's giddy up or giddy out on the inside.
Weird
So
parallels.
It's exactly the same. That's
crazy.
wild, dude.
That's so funny. But yeah, I don't even know if I still have the sweats, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember like having it on the inside. So like every time you put your pants on, you're like, do or do not.
Do or do not. Yeah. If you're not, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not even a crazy Star Wars like nut too.
Yeah.
It's just like it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a 3-part question. Favorite quote?
My favorite quote. Oh my goodness. See, I'm not as studied as Kale. I don't read as much as he does.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have like a quote.
How about favorite book?
I think the book that was most impactful in my life was Killing Lions by John Eldredge. I ended up buying a dirt bike afterwards. And I realized
Why?
I think so. There was a concept in there about killing lions and like in the kind of the tribal life, like it's like this stepping into manhood, like becoming a man and like living life with like this kind of volition, like just like, I don't know, not being tame. And we were living in Kansas at the time. And I remember like, I already loved all these things. I liked being outdoors. I was active. I shot, fish, like whatever. And the big thing was my mom was so afraid to let me ride a dirt bike because she thought I was going to kill myself. And once I got the bike, I'm super timid anyway. But it was just more like this kind of not being afraid to do things that are dangerous because that's kind of what makes us man.
Right.
So it was a pretty powerful book. It was a biblical book. But yeah, that's kind of the one that stuck out.
Yeah. So that kind of helped you become, kind of grow into manhood.
Yeah, I think just realizing that like there's things we can do that will stretch us and push us outside of this like comfortable box we tend to put ourselves in. And for me, even something as simple as like riding a dirt bike can do that. It kind of stretches your...
It's symbolic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more symbolic than anything.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it does. It pushes... I find like some people are so afraid to challenge themselves, even to learn a new skill or to step into a new hobby. We become so comfortable. And so getting into like motorcycles was one of those things.
Was this before or after you went pro?
No, this was after.
This is after you went pro.
I was already swimming pro.
Wow. So, but you must have had a little bit of this energy before going pro.
For sure. No,
because like if you didn't, like going pro at 14, like you have to be a little bit out there if you're not.
There's a little crazy. Yeah, I was always like backflips on the trampoline. I was wakeboarding almost every day in Kansas. Like we were always active and doing things that probably most athletes shouldn't. Like even now, like I still go snowboarding. I surf big waves. Like we do a lot of things that most people be like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's dumb to not live life and enjoy it. Like I'd rather, I mean, knock on wood, I'd rather get injured doing what I love than
not do anything
at all and think, man, I like sacrificed my whole life for a moment.
Right.
So it's like, wild.
Yeah. And surfing is just so much fun.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like there's such and you speak to anyone that lives in Hawaii or by the beach anywhere, and I think there's like a healing aspect to the salt water. I don't know if it's like
Your dad was saying the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the science between like the ions and the salt water and whatever it is, but I think there's something about how our body like communicates with nature
Yeah.
in a way. Like
Yeah.
you get the same probably by going in the woods or being on a walk and, you know, grounding, like being barefoot. Like that's one thing I love about Caleb too. And I've known him for a long time and I've always known of him as like swimming's kind of secondary to who he is because he's so connected to the earth and he has so much freedom to race and compete and be powerful. And I think a lot of that comes from his fact that he's got like this kind of perspective, like, you know what, like we get to enjoy what God's created around us, like being in the ocean, being by the water, being in the swamp, doing whatever. Like that's real.
I think part of it is like when you're out in the woods, you're like, oh, this place is huge. And like the swimming really doesn't matter.
realize how
Whether
small
I
you
go
are.
25 seconds or whatever, like
Yeah.
none of this matters.
No, it's pretty
You know?
crazy. Yeah. Oh, it's always something to come back to. That's too, like even now here, it's like swam really well in Westmont, training here in LA, San Diego. But I'm like, I get to go home and like just float in the water and
Yeah.
be in the sun.
I'm so jealous of
Yeah.
your setup right now.
We're spoiled, very like blessed beyond. Obviously don't deserve it, but man, we've worked hard for it. And it's a pretty cool thing to go home to. Yeah.
Going back to when you became pro at 14, you got a lot of hate for that.
Yeah.
Right. How'd you not let that? Because I think about like the 14-year-olds now. Like you make fun of them a little bit and they're like traumatized forever.
Really? That's funny. I haven't interacted with 14-year-olds as much as you have, maybe.
Like you say, hey, your shirt's on backwards, and they're like
Yeah,
all
like, whoa.
flustered about it. I'm like, yeah, it's chill, you know.
A different
How did
culture.
you not let that affect you? Because I feel like it didn't affect you at all.
It did. No, it for sure did.
Okay.
Internally.
Yeah.
I think people didn't realize not even damage. I was very fortunate that at least I had really good people around me. So I think my family was always super supportive. So nothing anyone else said kind of changed what we had believed in our minds. Like we knew what we were capable of and what we were pursuing. And so that wasn't going to change. I also think I had really good mentors and a really solid friend group. So I had like, you know, your 2 or 3 friends that your values kind of tied to knowing, okay, they love me and support me regardless of all this swimming BS. And so it kind of gives you this opportunity or like the freedom to completely fall flat on your face and fail, which was a unique perspective because obviously when you're a professional athlete, you're kind of told you're not allowed to fail because you're only as good as your last swim. And so that defines your worth. And then, you know, I miss an Olympic team, you lose all your sponsors. So like, it's true. You live in this performance-based world where that makes sense. And that's it's fair. It sucks.
Yeah.
But that's also what makes sport so like everyone wants to be a professional athlete because there's pressure.
Yeah. How do you deal with that pressure?
I think just having the perspective, knowing that my worth's not tied to it. And my worth and value comes from one, knowing that I'm loved and created perfect by God. And we all are. I think knowing that my parents love me and support me, whether I am an Olympic champion or not. And that's hard because I know some parents are really tough. Like it's not, even with mine, like it's not easy to work with your parents all the time. And so like that takes time and communication. And then I think having like hobbies and friendships outside of the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think I get so scared when an athlete's like, yeah, I eat, sleep, swim. And I'm like,
That's all I do.
like what? Like
You have no life.
Yeah,
And if
like-
that thing goes bad, your whole life is
everything's affected
Yeah.
by it. Yeah. So I think
But
having things
what you were
outside-
saying earlier about like if you don't make the Olympic team and all your sponsors drop you, so like in a way your results are kind of tied to
Totally.
value. How do you deal with that part?
I think a lot of it's just understanding that, well, and I've been around it long enough that I think I've experienced highs and I've come through lows, and I realize the lows really aren't as bad as they seem in the moment. I think I have to kind of, oftentimes I remind myself to step back from my career and I look at the whole like trajectory of it, like the arc, and realize that, okay, maybe I had a dip here and it was really sad, but it's sad for a season and then you climb out of it, or you learn from it, or you recognize that, okay, I made a mistake here, I need to adjust this. So I think I've always kind of had this very And I don't know if you've met my dad ever. It's like he's like an eternal optimist.
Yeah.
Everything is going to work out.
I was telling Katie last night, your dad's always smiling.
Always happy. He's the
always
happiest
happy.
person. It doesn't matter what's going on. He'll always say something positive or exciting.
How does he do that?
He'll joke about it.
He just naturally has a ton of
think it's
serotonin in
just-
his body.
yeah,
He's just constantly
probably.
producing serotonin.
I don't know. It's crazy. He's always been like that. It's actually very rare that I see him like angry or
Sad.
upset or sad over anything.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, and maybe that's not healthy, but yeah, it's like
There's a couple screws loose in his head.
Oh, it's so many screws loose, but it's good because it creates this environment where it's like you can enjoy every moment, and that's what's been fun. Like even training with Mikkel and having him on the team is like he too has expressed is like it's so easy to work with Dad, or he calls him Peter, but because it's just like everything's goofy. Like sometimes I'm like, hey, like come on, let's take
be
this
serious.
seriously. Like
You're like at Olympic
me.
trials,
I need
he's
you
like
to-
goofing around.
Yeah, but it's good because it does. Because I tend to be the more serious one, and I like get in my head about things. I'm like, hey, like I gotta lock in.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But
a
that's
time
good.
place,
I
yeah.
think every relationship needs push and pull.
For
And you
sure.
have one guy pushing, one guy pulling, and your
100%.
dad's the goofy one, and you're the serious one.
Yeah, literally.
Was that relationship like that ever since you were like 12 years old? The coach athlete relationship.
Yeah, I think it had always been. I was a little more serious. I think it was interesting when I was younger, up until maybe I want to say like 16, 17, it started to switch a little where I became the more serious one. I think my dad was always very, very disciplined and driven in our coaching methods. And then as I got older, I think I started to have more input, which I don't know if that was always the healthiest thing, but it's like, you know, I think I'm an adult. I have more say in what I'm doing. And then we start to butt heads a little bit. But now there's like, I think there's a really healthy balance of him understanding that I know my body best and we can kind of collaborate. And that's something I think my dad's he probably shared it in the podcast too, is like, even though he's like our head coach, essentially, the input from me and Mikkel in understanding our bodies the best and having done it for over a decade, he takes that really seriously, knowing, okay, like realistically, like maybe I'm head coach and he's helping to assist and pioneer like what that is and lead it to results, which is where that collaboration comes from. And I think why that balance in kind of social dynamic works so well.
So when you were 17 and you guys were butting heads, he wasn't as collaborative. It was more like, hey, you do what I say.
I think so. Early on, I would just follow blindly.
Yeah.
Which was probably really good for me as a kid.
It worked, yeah, 'cause you don't know much
No,
as a kid,
I didn't
yeah.
know it much at all. And so I think I would just push and push and push and push. And then now I'm like, I'll push and I'll be tired and I'll question it and be like, nah, I don't really want to do this. And so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah.
Like,
How do you guys come up? Does he write the practice now, or do you guys write it?
No,
he writes everything.
He writes everything, but I feel like we are constantly adjusting and tweaking things either day of based on how we feel or how we show up to the practice, or we'll adjust it based off of results. So like we'll take Westmont and we'll kind of sit down and dissect where were we excelling, where did we make improvements, like top end speed's good, but my 15 is slow. So maybe we're going to do some more power underwater work or some additional 15 bursts, like things that cater towards fixing those little pieces, and then taking all the data, which we've got an insane amount of data from Westmont with time drops. So time drops has just started working with USA Swimming. So we're able to see all the metrics from every different segment of the race, compare and contrast. So those type of things we will take into account. And now we try to adjust for whatever it's next, Sacramento or whatever.
What did you learn in Westmont?
I think for me, the biggest thing is there's explosive power. And actually that would be something that we will probably adjust a little bit in our gym, which is great. And something I think I realized I wasn't as disciplined on because I became self-conscious at the UFC gym. I was like, oh, I'm not going to superset box jumps between
Yeah.
the squats
Yeah.
because there's a million people, and so that's why I want to build my own set at home.
Yeah.
So that's a lesson
So
I
you can
learned.
do the deep squat
Yeah,
pogos in
do the
private.
deep squat, yeah. Get all my thank yous in. And then I think swim wise, the biggest takeaway is probably, I think with the, now originally I thought the format was kind of dumb, like the prelim semi-final, but it was really helpful in learning that it's hard for my body, like my endurance, I need some more swim endurance for the 100 breaststroke especially. So it's strengthen the legs, and then maybe aerobic capacity, which, as crazy as it may sound, probably surf more, hike more in my free time. I think being fresh into the routine in Hawaii and having trained hard consistently and it's been a while since I really had that like consistent base. I'm so fatigued that I like don't want to go do all the fun activities, but I realize those fun activities aren't really just fun activities, or actually that's training.
Yeah. And this trains you to be fresh for prelims.
Exactly.
Semis.
Yeah, and like be able to carry it from one to the other.
Yeah. How much your like race pace volume are you doing right now? And are you going to increase that as you go forward?
I think so. We'll probably add one more session. So we'll probably have 3 days a week where we're doing 100 pace. Because right now it's been very heavy power sprint, like all 50s. But it's like it's tough when you're training for 6 different races.
Yeah. How do you manage all that?
It ebbs and flows through the season. But I do think we prioritize specific 50s over the other, and then we let the kind of residual take care of it. Like 50 fly, it's a focus, but we don't really train it as much as we do 50 free. And we kind of let that conditioning tie over, and then it becomes more of a technical thing, which is hard because obviously in 50s it's all technical.
Yeah.
So you've got a guy that will specialize in just the 50 breast or just the 50 fly, and I'm here trying to beat all those specialists in all 4 of them.
Yeah. Dude, you're wildly so in preparation for this podcast, I looked up all your 50 times.
Yeah.
50 fly 22:79, 50 back 24:47, 50 breast 26:52, 50 free 21:41. I think you must be number one like if you were to add those times up, you've got to be number one in the world.
I think so.
Is there anyone else?
I'm trying to think who else is. Thomas maybe was pretty quick. I mean, there was a year, I remember when they had done, someone had done like a calculation. This was a couple of years ago, and I think I was the fastest by almost like half a second.
Yeah.
But
maybe
I think
Caleb's close to that, but I don't know about his backstroke.
Breaststroke and backstroke is tough, yeah. Long course.
Well, Caleb's been...
Short course, I would not be the same.
Yeah. Caleb told us yesterday he's 101 in the 100 breast. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a non-breaststroker.
Solid, yeah.
Although he did have the 100 breast American record short course at one point.
Yeah, with like 2 strokes per length.
So race pace volume, like are you doing 200, 300, 400? What's the total?
Oh, like yardage?
Yeah.
Or, no, so we're probably getting... It's come down a lot. So when I was living in San Diego, we were doing almost, I was telling Sid this the other day, like we were hitting almost 5K at 200 pace. we were doing three rounds of 30 50s, 200 pace. So we go fly breast IM order or fly breast free. It was insane.
30 50s on what?
20 seconds between each 50. So yeah, it was gnarly. And even going into Tokyo, we were doing that. Like,
yeah, but that's because you're getting ready for the 2 a.m.
Exactly. But I think I'm almost doing too much. And I think it kind of destroyed my nervous system. But now, since we're just training for 100 pace, 50s, I mean, in our longest session, we're probably not getting any more than like 1,500. And then at pace, we're probably not doing more than like 700, 800 meters.
At 100 pace.
Yeah, 100
If
pace.
you do 50 pace, how much do you do?
Oh, we're doing no more than probably 400.
400 yards. Yeah.
Like the most, like 1625s is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot for us too.
That's pretty hectic on the body, especially because we don't. So our thing is when we do overspeed, we call it overspeed. It's our 25s. That's just all out, off the blocks, or from a push. We don't want there to be too much of a deviation from 25 to 25. So if we add more than 0.2, that's like kind of outside of finger margin, So that's when we're like, okay, we cut it.
Cut it.
Because then you're communicating to your brain, and that's like all USRPT in a nutshell is specificity reigns supreme. So if you are going too slow, your brain's coding those movements and coding those times.
Yeah.
So then you're essentially saying, well, it's okay to swim that. So kind of once you swim too slow, you're like, stop there, change the stroke. That in theory communicates to your brain, okay, that's not good enough.
So if you're going, say, like 9.6, 9.6, 9.6, and then you go 9.8,
Yeah.
do you give it another one just to see what happens? Or
Depending on, like, if there was something technically that went wrong, like I had a deep breakout, then we'll be like, okay, we'll go again
Let's try again,
see if we
see.
can replicate it
Yeah.
with a cleaner stroke. Or if it like fails hard and I'm like, hey, physically I'm tapped out, I'll say, hey, no, that's it.
that's it.
Yeah.
So say you're like 9.6, 9.6, 9.8, 9.7. What would you do?
We'd probably go another if we still have more in the set. But if it's too high out, we'll cut it.
If you're like on number 14.
Because a lot of
or
times
whatever.
we do still have like a standard, like, okay, we're gonna do 5 of each stroke and we'll rotate once we get to the 5. Or if my dad's like really excited and the freestyle, like this happened the other day where we would do like 625s, free, breast, fly in that order kind of thing.
Like free breast fly, free breast fly.
No, we do all 6 freestyle, and then we go like
Yeah.
into the breast and fly. But the freestyle, I think it was like number 4, 5, and 6. I had changed like a tiny thing in my stroke, and I dropped like 0.2, and I was like flying. I was like, holy, like this is crazy. This is cool discovery.
What was
And
that
then-
discovery?
Well, so a lot of it was this like, so I'm trying to figure out how to create forward momentum on the swing without having this delayed like over. Sometimes I swing too high with my right hand, and my freestyle is not symmetrical.
Yeah.
which is odd. Like, so when I went to 21.4, I'm kind of swinging with my right and punching with my left, and so I tried to really lift the shoulder and swing the hand around the side. And you see this in Cam's stroke a little bit. He kind of like
comes around the side,
roundhouses almost. So it was that. It was basically going back to this old like swing and then locking in the core and allowing for that, at least with that leverage, you throw the right line. Otherwise, if you're loose, you're just all over the place.
Yeah.
Because it's not symmetrical. So I was doing that really well. And my dad was like, okay, let's do an extra 2 freestyles. So we just kept going freestyle, and we just took it off of the breaststroke. Yeah.
Do you feel like in race pace volume you can handle way more breaststroke volume than any other stroke?
For sure. I think so. Yeah. Well, and I actually find that my breaststroke gets more efficient when I get tired, because it forces me to focus on timing and not force, like power. Because I think in the other strokes, when you're fresh, you can kind of fake speed because you can just like muscle it. But breaststroke, when you're tired, if you're dying, you're dying.
Yeah.
And so the only way to get faster is by adjusting the timing, the efficiency, and like when the kick comes in and how the head drives and the body position. It's so technical. Like, I could spend hours talking about every tiny little portion of the stroke that leads to a more efficient breaststroke. Freestyle, butterfly, it's a little different because there's only so much you can do. But breaststroke especially, there's so much involved. I think it's too
When you say
technical.
timing, what are you thinking about?
So I'm thinking timing from hands to head, punch, like when I draw the kick up, how wide I push the feet, when I sweep, where does the head tuck at the end of the stroke? Are my hands closed? Are they tilted a tiny bit? Are the toes pointed in, out? Like, there's so much. Like, are the hips rolled in and the knees naturally? I'm like naturally pronate. So there's a lot of like weird little nuances, and I feel it all kind of at once.
You can feel everything all at once
I can
happening.
feel so much, yeah.
Wow.
And I can feel whether if I roll my toes, if my hips adjust for it, or if they sink. Like, there's a bunch of random little things, especially when I'm fresh, but even more so when I'm tired, which is what I like. So that's why I kind of love, like, one of my favorite sets is we used to do 30, 50s, 200 pace breaststroke. And I was long course, I was holding like 31 fives. Yeah. It was insane.
With 20 seconds rest.
With 20 seconds rest.
30 50s.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And my stroke count was like 16 or 17. So it was pretty long. And what was so unique about it is I could do this kind of with my, like, I swim a lot with my eyes closed still, because it's all about feel. And so even on days that I was like feeling like ass, I could get into a rhythm in the breaststroke. If it clicked, I could just keep going and not kind of stop, because it wasn't really about force or power production. It was all just efficiency. And that's when I went to 58.1. So it's like trying to get back to that without doing the same volume. I realize it's all a technical thing. So even now, like I don't think I think my 50 breaststroke is really on. Like I love where the stroke's at, but based off of Westmont, I think the 100, there's a hitch in it, and it's just because we haven't been doing as much 100 pace volume as I used to. So the stroke that I like default to is not the efficient one. It's kind of the forced one.
When you said the timing of bringing your heels up, when should that happen within the stroke?
When should I bring it up?
Yeah.
So it's on the drive. So as I'm punching, so it happens almost at like what I call it like 80% extension. So like 80% is basically arms fully straight out, head's not quite down yet.
You're here, that's when your heels are starting to come up?
Yeah, they come up quick.
Yeah.
So you'll see my draw is so fast, but it's wide. That's one thing I think that I do have a huge advantage in, is I can draw really fast and high, so that when I do start to sweep, my propulsion and like grab on the water is so wide, and it just creates much more power without creating additional drag. So I think if most people try to set up as wide as I do, they're going to like
Create
parachute.
drag, yeah.
And so that's like the timing of it. I think it's right after basically your full extension. But you can't, if the lag time is just a little off, what will happen is you create this hitch where the momentum you're creating with the shoot in your arms isn't being assisted by the kick. So it's like kind of finding that time where it's like one after the other, so that it all just extends into reach.
When your breaststroke feels the best, where is most of your intention?
In my legs.
In the legs.
Yeah. So my breaststroke feels the best when I understand that the force and like the speed of the stroke is coming from the legs. I think all of last year I swam with my arms, and I was focused on creating strength up top and like creating like frontal or like forward momentum on the drive. But I realized that's such a small portion of the race. In the 50, you can get away with it. And you know, I see it in Mikkel. Like Mikkel can stay with me and keep with me on the 50, but the moment we turn to go back, he can't, because he's swimming with his arms.
Yeah.
His kick is so narrow. So it is weird. I know it's a little different. Obviously, look at Petey, and he doesn't have a very wide. It's
He's
not like
more
a
upper body
propulsive
driven.
kick. Yeah, it's just power up top. I do think there's power in his legs, but it's sustained. It's interesting. So, but that's also body types. Like I feel like you know, if I was
you got to
built
use
like
your
that,
advantage.
like I have that length.
You have 70-ish degrees of hip internal rotation.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's insane.
When you do the 50 breaststroke, are you still thinking about legs, or is it more upper body?
So it's become more upper body just because the tempo is so high. So the tempo of the arms dictates the tempo of the legs, because they have to match. And so in Westmont, I actually, in prelims, so my prelim swim to my final swim was very different, which is interesting because the times were the exact same, like literally the exact same. So prelims, I was not feeling good. I was tired. So I was like, I'm just going to go long and focus on driving the kick. And I don't know if I went a stroke less or if it was like a half timing off, but I was really just focused on driving the kick, closing the line, and I went 27.00. And then in the evening, I was like, okay, I'm fresh. I'm going to crank it. And it just felt weird. Like I was kind of spinning.
Yeah.
I still went 27.00, but it wasn't as efficient as the first one, even though I was physically not that great in the morning. Which made me think, okay, I could almost slow down the stroke and go faster because I'm sweeping more in the kick and pushing, but it's such a fine line. It's like,
yeah, breaststroke is so weird like that. Like you put more effort in and you go slower, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, you go up and that's the worst. I think it's the most consistent, where I've like shown up to 100 breaststroke thinking I feel so good, I'm going to break the American record, and I go like a 100. I'm
like, what happened?
Yeah, and you feel great the whole way. It's like, timing's gnarly.
How about butterfly? Where's your intention?
Butterfly, my big thing now recently, because it is a more front lever pulling, is driving momentum, like throwing hands narrow and long.
Like you're actively trying to throw it forward.
So like I'm trying to punch momentum forward, because then that rides, and the kick, because the kick is just assistance. I think fly back and free, a lot of the kick is balance. So it's about keeping your hips as high in the water as possible and then allowing the arms to create the force. And so if I can drive my momentum forward and let the kick just ride the hips up, that's where I create that kind of rhythm, and it builds. And then the big thing too, I think it's just like, especially in the 50, I realized I was kind of entering too wide. And the first thing that does is it just acts as a brake. So you're stopping your water. Even if you glide or you hit here and close your hands, it's a waste of time. So I'm trying to come a little narrower. And then from there, if I need a set, I'd rather set wide. But this is just kind of eliminating this whole like waist movement up front.
Do you think about your chest at all?
Not
really.
like pushing it down to create
like pressing
lift.
or anything like that, or not really?
Not a ton. No, I try to do it from the top of the head, just because it's the first point of contact. So if you think of it like a submarine going through the water, you have this like ball in the front, and it just creates a bow wave. So it's like if my head can pierce the water, from there the rest of it will flow around the body, as long as my hips are high enough. Yeah. So I try to break tension with the head, drive momentum with the arms, and keep the rest of the body behind it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So all of the focus is on kind of this front part. The 50 fly is so weird. Like I still can't figure out the stroke or how to coach it or how to swim it. And everyone I talk to has a little bit slightly different.
It is all so different. Yeah. Everything's so uniquely different. And I think there's principles. I think that's the biggest thing. What I learned in coaching and clinicking and doing all these things with like Learn to Swim is you've got two like factors. How can you in swimming reduce drag, and then how can you increase propulsion? So whatever you do, each individual just needs to focus on those things. I feel like there's certain principles I've learned, or certain things that have been discovered, or been like, oh, like pinky first in the backstroke, or like all these like things, like the little lessons, like scoop the ice cream, or whatever. But I think an individual has to always like figure out what works best for their body type, and how can they increase propulsion and reduce drag.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem is, in order for people to do this, you need so much self-agency.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the kids, they just are like zombies. They're not thinking about, okay, where should my intention be? What should I be thinking about?
Yeah.
That's what I realized with pro swimmers is like they all have intentionality when they swim. They're thinking about something, you know. I'm thinking about, like Caleb was talking about, I put my intention on my sternum right here, and I'm rotating through there.
Yeah. Well, Caleb especially, he's incredibly cerebral.
Yeah.
Like more than, and I think I'm like over the top of it, but I think Caleb's even more than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Like, but it's fun too. Like, and you see it when we train together, or when we get the guys. It's like we'll spend half the practice just talking about like one tiny movement and just tweaking little things. So it's fun. I love like being in a group like that. It's amazing to see. But yeah, I do think, I don't know, and maybe it's a generational thing. I think too, you look at what social media and like access to all of these crazy things, and like dopamine releases, and like how our brain focuses on certain subject. I think everyone's so distracted by so much that maybe that plays a role too. So I don't know. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Talking about USRPT, I want to go back to that. What's like one of the biggest misunderstandings people have about USRPT?
I think the biggest is just that they think it's easy. It's like, I think people think it's a cop-out for speed, which is wild, because any athlete that I've ever had come and do a full USRPT set with me usually can't get through half of it.
Yeah. 30-50s at 200 seems crazy.
Yeah. It was the funniest thing. We had a few athletes, this was years ago when I was living in Encinitas, and we had some guys come and swim with me, and they're like, yeah, we'll do USRPT, that'll be easy. Like, just a bunch of 25s, right? And that's what everyone just thought. It's like, oh, it's just a bunch of 25s. It's like, okay, sure, let's do it. At like 10 25s, they're throwing up, done. And I have another like 60 to go. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, this is not that hard, is it? Right. Yeah. So it's pretty wild. I think that's the biggest misconception, is like, just because the volume isn't there, that it's not hard. But I mean, if I had the choice, I mean, I would never want to do it because going through a traditional volume practice is boring and mindless to me. But like that's much easier. Like you can just get the yards in, but it's not actually like, as long as there's intention behind it. I think people don't realize how intentional every single length is. And that's what makes it more valuable than anything. Yeah.
How do you manage that fatigue? Because it's very fatiguing to do that.
It's hard. When I was younger, could do it every day, all day, back and forth. Now, my body can't. I mean, I'm talking like I'm 40 years old, but it's not. It's just like it doesn't recover as quickly. I think the central nervous system takes a longer time to recover. It takes 48 hours. You got to eat right. You got to rest. So I think it's just, for me, we still try to do as much volume USRPT as possible, but I think we give ourselves more grace, realizing that the body's not always going to be fresh, and you kind of got to allow for that adaptation to take a little longer. So it's more an understanding versus like changing what we do to recover, because there's only so much you really can do other than just letting your body like adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing 5 swim sessions a week?
So, yeah.
5 plus 1 surf.
Well, I try it. So I'm trying to surf 2 or 3 times a week now.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we lift
Twice.
I guess every twice.
Tuesday,
now.
Fridays.
We're gone to twice now. Yeah.
What does your taper look like?
So taper is interesting because what we do is we don't change really the speed actually increases.
Right.
Volume just comes down significantly. So it almost becomes more like higher pressure. Like I get more stressed during weeks that we're resting just because I'm like,
oh, I have to hit these
like,
paces. I only have 4.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. No, exactly. So we go down to like 8 or 4, and then it's like, okay, world record pace, or we're trying to be really, really fast. And sometimes I end up pushing myself harder in those to try and make it, just because I want to force it. But then you change other things. Yeah. So that's kind of like and it's the same even when we were doing like the really long sets, like the 30s and stuff. We'd probably come down to 12 and just try to be a little bit quicker, like a tenth or 2 faster. And then we wouldn't go to 3 fails. So the concept used to be, once you hit 3 failures or 30, your set's done. So there we just go 1 fail. So once you hit your 1 fail, that's it.
You don't get another shot at it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What were you doing when you went 21.4?
21.4, we were swimming. Oh, this was like before. Yeah. So we were probably, it was interesting because I was still kind of training for the 2IM. So I had a pretty big base. And then sprint wise, I think every other day we were probably doing 10.25s max off the blocks. And we'd suit up for a few of them. So we were doing a lot of volume. And I think I was young enough that like my body could handle it. But it was just a ton of sprinting. And I wasn't lifting. So I never lifted. I didn't really do any mobility work. I was at the time, I guess we worked a little bit with a guy out of Australia, Tom Barton, and we were doing some mobility, like just thoracic mobility. And this was because at the time, Mitch Larkin, the backstroker, was swimming super fast, but we looked at how mobile his back, his like shoulders were. And that made a big difference. Same in my 100 breaststroke. I think being able to like set my catch so much higher was huge just for that season. And then it got worse because we got lazy. But I think, we weren't really, like, I wasn't solely focused on the 50. I think we sprinted enough that my body got so comfortable in the stroke and it became second nature. Yeah. So we were just a lot of sprint volume.
How do we get you back to that?
I think it's similar. I think it's going to take sprint volume. I think it's going to take translating the power from the gym that we're creating into speed. But the only way you do that is by swimming.
Sprinting.
Yeah. So I think more top end speed sprinting, no tools, no nothing. I think, being like, I love the addition of destro. I love like being able to work with things that create resistance in the pool and power, but I need to be able to translate that into
real swimming speed. Yeah. Dude, how'd you go 21.7 when you're, what was it, 17?
Yeah.
It's still the junior world record, right?
I think it is still a junior world record. It was in Indy. I actually remember it because I swam it 3 times. And so that's a kind of a cool story. So going into junior world champs in Indy, I had written on my pull-up bar, in my bathroom, in the car, everywhere around the house, 21.75. And so I saw it kind of in my peripheral for forever. And eventually, a couple months in, you forget those papers are there and it's just part of your everyday. And I went and raced prelims, 21.75, I think it was. Semis, I think I was 21.76 or like right on. And then finals, it was some gnarly. I had like a triple. I think I broke 3 world junior records in that same session, and still went to 21.75. Yeah, so it was just like, it was so ingrained in my brain and my body and my training. And the only thing I really changed from previous swims, because I was stuck on 22.22, like that was my number. And I was still taking one breath at the time. And I just decided, screw it. I'm not going to be a little biatch about this. And I cut the breath out completely. And it was the first time I realized I don't need the air. And I went from 21.22 or 22.22 to 21.75.
You know what's crazy? 21.75 was my best 50 short course yards time my senior year of high school.
That's awesome. Let's go.
So we had the same long course and short course yards time at the same age.
And here we are working together. How awesome is that?
Let's go, 21.75. But the training leading up to the 21.75, it was pretty much all the same, like just a ton of sprint volume.
It was just super specific swimming. Yeah, lots of it. Yeah.
Ton of dive 25s.
And we were racing a lot.
Oh, right.
So like we were traveling and racing. And so I think every single race was it was a test event. So we were learning, adjusting. And so I think I became so used to doing that race over and over and over, so that every single time I tweaked like minor things, whether it was surging in the end, finding that 6th gear, like cutting the breath, adjusting the breakout. So those little things, I think repetition was my friend for sure.
Training with your dad, did you ever have like resentment towards him because he was your coach? Because the reason I ask is because obviously I have kids now, and I kind of don't want them to swim because I know too much about the sport.
Yeah.
And if they were like, hey dad, I really want to swim, I'd be like, yeah, of course you can do it. But like it would kill me to see them swimming with like another dumbass coach.
Yeah.
And I probably would end up wanting to coach them.
Yeah.
But my fear is ruining that relationship as their dad.
Really
but
hard.
obviously you guys do a good job. So like, what do you think was the secret sauce to like keeping that like father-son relationship intact?
It's tough. And I actually think that's kind of the biggest reason I left. It wasn't really because I missed the Paris team, but I think it's because I had a really tough, and I think my dad would admit this, and it's hard to even say publicly. It's just like there was a sacrifice that was made. And I think our relationship most of my life revolved around swimming.
Right.
And I think for a long time, I didn't care because we still were having fun and we were still focused on excellence and we got to travel and we got to do all these things. But I think as I got older, I realized I kind of also want to just go fish and surf and not talk about swimming. So there were times in our season we did really well in being like, hey, when we're home, no swimming. Like
that was a rule for you guys?
It was, but it's hard to live by because my dad's so obsessive with swimming.
And he's always happy.
It's like,
there's
always something.
Swimming,
So he wants to talk about it. He wants to discuss the
hey,
results.
Hey, Mako, what do you think about it?
Literally. And he loves swim, and he read it all the time. And he'd see it. I'm like, you got to get off and you got to stop. Like, let's take a break mentally. But I think too, like, I also realized that at the end of the day, that was his gifting and his calling. Like he was made to be an Olympic coach. I was made to be his athlete. And so I think it's like understanding that our relationship looked differently and we had those experiences like father-son also because we were coach athlete. But I do think it took a toll and it is hard. Like, I don't know. I kind of think about like, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids, certainly. So it's
that
like,
you know of.
Yeah, they better not be out there. and so I'm like, I wonder, like, man, like I think about the same. It's like, would I want my kids in swimming? And I probably not. Like, even the climate of swimming is kind of weird now. Anyway, it's like much rather they play some country club sport and can
Yeah.
actually make some money.
Right.
But I don't know. It's doable, but I think when there's this dynamic of like work, and that's the thing is like, and our family dynamic, it wasn't just work between me and my dad. My mom was involved in that as well, and even my sister when she was little is like she swam. My mom was my manager for a little bit. My dad was my coach. We built. I mean, the lore is crazy. Like we built two. How many pools did we build? I think we built two pools. So our first pool was in South Dakota. We bought an abandoned whole city block actually on Main Street, an old nightclub, turned it into a pool house, started a swim team.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Eventually we moved to Kansas, bought acreage, built a pool in the backyard, started a swim team. Like our family embodied my career, and it was, I think, good and bad. And that one, good, amazing, like the sacrifice was insane. It created an Olympic champion. It created, we changed, I believe we changed the sport in a way a lot of people thought about training.
Yeah, you were like
and
the first guy.
specificity.
You were the pioneer.
Yeah, and so that wouldn't have happened without some sacrifices. But then it got to a point where when I missed the Paris team, I was like, I kind of want to like, the family dynamic, it wasn't as healthy as it had been. And so I needed to step back, give it time to
Calm down. Yeah.
to heal, and for my mom and dad to do their thing and be focused on each other and not me and swimming. And it was good. And obviously I seen the health and the growth and like kind of fresh start. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go to Hawaii. And I missed working with my dad again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess going back to your question is like, I think it's very doable, but it does take a toll and it's hard. And I think there has to be really strict like boundaries in place, guardrails to protect the father-son, father-child dynamic versus like the coach athlete.
Yeah.
And
those boundaries are like, hey, at home, we don't talk about swimming.
And the thing is, that's up to you as the dad to try to figure out, okay, which hat am I wearing now? Is it discipline and pushing, or is it nurturing and
be
loving?
soft.
Yeah. And so I think that was the hardest part, is just for dad figuring out, okay, when should we be what?
Yeah.
Because I think for him it was much easier to just always be swim coach, because that's what he knew best. He was most studied in that and he loved it. And so, yeah, it's interesting. And I think it's, my dad, like, he loves so well. He's a teddy bear.
He is a teddy bear.
And so it's hard when, and I think the toughest thing is I remember when I was leaving to go to swim in Arizona, and I told him, it's like, hey, I just want dad.
Yeah.
And like, I felt bad saying that because I knew that kind of broke his heart.
Because you brought it up, right, to him.
Yeah, because he felt like, well, I did this because I loved you. And it's like, I know that. Like, I understand that. But I think I don't want the pressure of like this family business. But now it's different, because I do think it's more individual. And I think I understand that, like, I have to take certain ownership over what I do. And I think sometimes when I was younger, is like, you look at them and like, they could feed me and take care of me and do all these things. And it's like, no, like, I want to have some autonomy to be like, this is my career. And you guys built the platform and got me there, which I'm so grateful for. But now we can work together and collaborate in our own roles separately and still create excellence. So it's just like shifting the dynamic a bit. But it was tough to realize. And honestly, it took, missing the team and falling flat on my face a few times to realize that. And now we're in a great spot, I believe. So.
How was that conversation when you initially brought it up to your dad? Like, you're thinking about going to ASU.
Yeah.
How was that like?
Well, there were a lot of tears. It was emotionally gnarly. So I would say the back half of 2024 was like the lowest point in my life, in my career. I had made also, I think that was another advice for anyone listening or watching this too. Don't make life-altering decisions in a moment of very like low sorrow, because you're not thinking straight. And I think you make decisions based off of feeling versus like logic. So I ended up moving from Encinitas to Costa Mesa. I was moving up there for a girl. And I was so like in my head about swimming. I was like, I didn't even know what I was going to do. I didn't know where I was going to train. I just knew that I didn't want to keep working with dad. I wanted to change it up. I wanted to try something new. And not because like the training wasn't working, but just because like I think the dynamic needed a break. Because there was so much pressure put on the family, and I think we kind of subconsciously felt like we had to win and earn this approval, which I personally never cared about, because I'm like, people are gonna say what they want to say, whether they like us or not. And I found that over my career, as people actually got to know my heart and my parents' heart in swimming, they realized we were actually really nice people.
You guys are some of the nicest people I know.
And so it's just like, how can you say that without knowing anybody? So that's why I have a lot of grace for anyone trying to pioneer some new movement, and even seeing what you're doing here with ASP is insane. So it's just like, yeah, I think I was like, okay, let's take a step back. I've got time before LA. I'll go explore.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought about Herbie. But yeah, the conversation was tough with my dad, just because I knew how it would feel and how it would be received. And there was no way to like deliver, hey, I don't want to work with you for this season. I don't know if I'm going to come back. And no matter what I said, whether I said it was because of X, Y, and Z, it was always going to be kind of taken like, oh, after a decade, I'm not good enough for you. And that's the hardest thing for me, because like I love my dad, and I'm also a very sympathetic person. So I'm like, I never want to hurt anybody with a decision that I make. And so I was like, I don't know how to do this. Yeah. So I put it off for a few months. I tried training myself in Costa Mesa. I went to swim the World Cups. I swam so bad. It was this dumbest thing. I left a week early. I was like, screw this. This is stupid. And I was like, I need to find somewhere to swim. And so I came up with it, and dad, it took him a while to accept it and like to understand why and realize it. But now you come full circle and you realize it had to happen for us to, I mean, the silver lining is all, I probably would never be in Hawaii. We wouldn't have had the opportunities and new trials that we had over the last year, and lessons that I learned. So it's like we were saying in the beginning, when you step back and you kind of look at your whole career as a scope, or your whole life as a scope, the lows feel really low and so bad in the moment. But when you step back and you've kind of climbed your way out of it, or you've made those adjustments, or you've learned from it, it's like, oh, wow, that really wasn't that bad. Like, I'm still here today. Mm-hmm. Things are still good. Like, there's still breath in my lungs. I still get to enjoy the gift that I've been given. But in the moment, it was like, oh, shit, this is
really rough.
Yeah.
What do you think went well in the Paris trials, and then what do you think went wrong?
Oh, what went well? Not much. Honestly, I remember going into Paris trials thinking it will be a miracle if I make this team. I wasn't training consistently. I was emotionally all over the place. I was stressed. I was freaking out. And I was just trying everything I could to like force results, which is like the worst thing you can do as an athlete. Like, confidence comes through preparation, and performance comes when you're relaxed. Mm-hmm. And so I think I pressed and tried. And what's kind of crazy too is I look back and I think, man, what the hell? Like, a 59-1 or 59-0 wins it. 59-1 made the team. Leading up to Tokyo, I was swimming 58.6s regularly. Yeah. It's like, I could have been an Olympic champion individually. Right. And so it was just interesting, just like this whole like lesson that at the end of the day, it is just swimming. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it kind of, I'm trying to think of the wins and the losses. It was all a blur. I try not to go back and think about it too much. Yeah. But yeah, I think for me, the win was ultimately just learning that I needed to change something to realize what I had and to like come back from it all. And I think it actually forced me to take a lot of ownership in my brand, my career, my socials, my training, like just overall discipline. Because I realized too, I think at Paris trials, I probably subconsciously looked at my parents and like this dynamic and blamed them. But at the end of the day, it doesn't fall on anyone's shoulders but myself, because I was the one who showed up sometimes lazy or unfocused or wasn't eating as clean or whatever. And so that consistently over time, like if I showed up perfect and pushing hard every day, then everything else would kind of take care of itself. And so I think that was the biggest thing for me, is like, no matter what your situation is or where you're at, you can still show up and give everything, and you're going to get results out of it, because consistency, it's like that compounding effect, like little things over time is going to create success. And I wasn't compounding
Before the Paris trials.
Yeah, with the whole lead up. Yeah.
But you know what the powerful thing in going through that painful experience is like, for the next trials, you know what headspace you need to be in. You know what
100%.
preparation you need to be in.
Yeah.
Like if you're stressed, you know, okay, I need to relax, because you know what the end result of that's going to be like.
Absolutely.
And that's such a powerful lesson in itself. Is there anything you learned from Herbie or your time at ASU that you still carry with you today?
Oh yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing I take from Herbie and kind of just the whole experience is the importance of having a team. And I also see that when I'm here with you guys training, is like having a dynamic where you've got a bunch of guys and girls pushing each other, you know, joking. Like, I mean, the shit talk is real. Like, it's good because it creates an environment of growth and like fun and just kind of just a really cool atmosphere. And I think for most of my career, I don't think I know, almost my whole career I've trained solo. You know, we'll have an athlete come in here and there for a week or so. But
hang with
like,
you for 10-25s and then throw up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's just me and dad the whole way. And it's like, that's awesome, but it's boring.
Yeah.
You know, like it's hard and it's easy to show up to practice and think, oh, I don't want to do this on my own again. And when you've got other guys there, you're like, well, if I'm swimming slowly, they're going to give me crap for it. And I can't have that because I'm competitive.
Right.
Like, and so right now, basically where I'm at is I'm trying to build a pro team and have a group of guys, or even if it's just small. I mean, we don't need a lot.
Yeah.
I just need.
Even just having Mikkel.
Just having Mikkel is amazing. And that's what I love. And that's like, actually what was kind of a big caveat in me going to Hawaii is like,
you need a teammate.
I told my dad, it's like, I'm not going to come to Hawaii unless I have at least a teammate that can push me. And I told Mikkel, is like, I'm not going to go to Hawaii unless you don't come with me.
You asked him to be your boyfriend.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, me, Bianca, Mikkel, we have this, we're a nice trouble. No, but it's amazing. And it's fun because like, you know, even talking to Caleb about Mikkel, it's like, he's got this energy that you feel like you've known him forever. Like, I mean, I only knew him the year I met him right there in Arizona, and immediately we clicked and we swim similar events, and we're both motivated. We're both in the similar spots in our career where we want to finish it well. We still have more in our tank. And so I think it's nice to find that, because that's something that can't be manufactured. You know, it's not like I can throw on Instagram like, hey, looking for training partner. And
you're on Craigslist.
Yeah. It's like looking for training partner and best friend.
Must go 26.5 in the 50 breast.
Literally. Yeah. So it's just like, it's just kind of all meant to be, and very fortunate. And so I'm excited to have him out there.
Yeah. Is there anything technical technical that you learned from Herbie training wise?
So I do think what I value the most from the training side that I learned from Herbie is the implementation of resistance training and power. Because it was the first time I did buckets. It's the first time I did like the power towers and the racks. And I'd never used equipment. And so I always kind of thought equipment has no place in the pool because it's unspecific to what we're going to do in the race. But I did realize the way that Herbie implemented it through not even drills, because I don't think drills help as much, but I think the certain power sets and things that we did were really fun. One, because it's stimulating just as it's
a new stimulus
to
for you.
change it up. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing I learned is like power has a place, obviously, big time. That's like, I feel like that's the thing in swimming world right now, is power has a place in sport or in swimming and implementation. Tools can be used if used correctly. And then another would probably be like just the environment he created was really healthy, and all the guys really respected him because he was organized. He was very thought out, and I think there was intention behind everything. And it's the same with the way we train. Is like, even though maybe sometimes I didn't fully understand or get it, like I could go to him and ask him, "Hey, like, what's the point? Like, what's the purpose behind this?" And he had an answer, even if I
He'll
did.
yap for like 30 minutes to
Yeah,
explain
oh,
it to you, right?
100%. And
Yeah.
I loved it. And that was great. Like, that's what you need. You need that, like, collaboration. And it was really good. So he's amazing. And I think the program's awesome. And I'm excited to see how they do. I know he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, filling Bob's shoes. But
He's done a great job,
He's
though.
done an amazing
He's
job.
done a really good job.
Yeah, it is for sure Sprint University. And
Yeah.
and the guys, I think what's cool is I realized too, the young guys, like the incoming squad, and then Johnny and Patty and the guys over there in Ilya, they also loved Herbie so much and they want to perform for his success. Like there was this dynamic where it's like, hey, our success is also your success, and we get that. So they took it really seriously, and there was good like team discipline. You kind of think when you go to swim with a group of college kids, because I mean they're like babies to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like big brother.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, they're gonna just be like
Drinking all the
drinking,
time,
partying, yeah. But it like never really happened.
Yeah.
like they were like super locked in.
No snappa.
Oh well, that's freaking
Water.
Ethan.
Yeah.
No, and he's still in college, so we would go.
Bro's 30 or
I
something.
love Ethan. Oh my gosh, when Ethan like, cause he too, he'd be like, so where are we going tonight? Like, where are we playing snap? I'm like, dude, the college kids are staying in.
Yeah.
You're the only one
You're
going
wanting
out.
to go out.
I love Ethan, and that's like too, like that's like other relationships I made outside of the team is like being able to hang with Ethan and Jack Dolan and the boys. Like we played snap. They actually taught me. I've never played snap before in my
fun,
life.
huh?
It was so fun.
So fun.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even drink, and we'd just be playing.
Yeah.
And sitting
Yeah,
back
we would
there
play
hanging out
water
with the
snap
guys.
all the
Yeah,
time.
it's so fun. Yeah, and so yeah, no, it was a really good environment, and I think I have a really strong group of friends from there that I still like. I'm actually going to try and get them all to come out after Pampax to Hawaii and just
nice.
stay with me and hang out.
Can I come too?
Yeah, bring the team. I'm like, we needed to get the ASP squad out to Hawaii for sure.
I really want to go just to go to Hawaii.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and go
Yeah.
surfing.
No, you would love it.
I've never surfed in Hawaii.
Really?
I've surfed here, but I've never surfed in Hawaii.
Dang.
I'm scared of the what is it called?
The reef?
The coral reef.
Yeah, I even like I have cuts. Well, actually, so right before Westmont, I surfed a spot called Velzy Land, which is pretty fun. But it's all reef. It's all reef. Everything's reef out there.
So when you fall, you just have to fall.
You
flat.
fall flat and low. But the hardest part is just walking out.
Yeah,
So like,
'cause you have to step on it.
Yeah, if you get pushed, like, so I got stuck in a little bit of a rip current that pushed me down the beach. So I'm like, I have to walk over the reef now, and I'm being thrown over. So I've got like cuts all over the top of my feet, and I stepped in a hole, and this like little piece of coral broke off in my
Oh,
foot,
no.
and it was like right before Westmont, and so it's just.
Oh, jeez.
But that's like the price you pay for paradise.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
like
good. It
Tom
keeps-
Hanks in Castaway when he gets flipped over and he gets stabbed by the.
Yeah.
That scares me.
No, it's fun. It keeps the kooks out of the water, though.
Yeah. When you came back to your dad,
Mm-hmm.
obviously this time around, was there something that you were kind of taking for granted in that relationship that when you came back, you're like, oh, I missed this?
Yes, I think the biggest thing was the one-on-one attention. And I don't fault Herbie for this at all, but it's like it's really hard when you've got 70 athletes
Yeah,
in the water
yeah.
to watch everything one athlete does. And so I think I definitely like I love, and I was so spoiled early on, is like every split is recorded, every stroke is watched, there's feedback immediately after every length. And so everything kind of revolved around me. And I think that's one thing that's really cool is coming back to that with my dad is like I realize how much attention to the detail I have and get because of that environment. And so I feel like there were certain instances, it's easy in a big group to get kind of lost in the sauce and be distracted, and then your stroke falls apart, and then you get a random injury because you're just kind of grading it through.
Did you have any injuries? At AC?
I threw my back out once lifting, and this was just because we were doing cleans, and I never cleaned before, and obviously I'm strong, but I didn't have like good technique. Well, I mean, I was very focused on technique early on, which I knew was important. But I think with wear and tear, I did some cleans on blocks that were a little too low, and my back didn't like it. And so I had like a week where I was just like
Couldn't walk.
laying. No, like I like just stayed on my couch like for a week. It was crazy. But yeah, little things like that. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that was normal in terms of just like adapting. I think my body was going to have some breakdown. But yeah, I think it's easier to get hurt when someone else isn't watching you and saying, hey, be careful about that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do this and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it's like, you know, you got just kids watching you.
Yeah. At ASU, yeah. That's why I always try to ask for video of what you're doing and
Yeah.
send me the videos
Yeah, exactly.
and stuff.
Yeah, which is super important.
It's actually pretty impressive how were you lifting a ton at ASU?
Not really. No. So like we would lift consistently, but the problem is I still traveled a lot, racing,
you would miss
doing
a lot.
clinics. Yeah. So I mean, if you think about it, I only really had 6 months consistently where I was at ASU, but even then, it's like I would miss a good chunk. So we never really had like a long, consistent period of lifting. So yeah, and it wasn't as specific to like the movements that we're doing in the water, which is why I came to you and why I was like, okay, like we need someone that is swim, like from the swim world that understands it. And our strength coach there was awesome, like super nice guy and still smart, but I think same thing. It's hard when you are catering to a women's team, a men's team, a water polo team, a volleyball team, a football team, like all of this.
Hard.
It's like,
it's very hard.
yeah, it's like I'm one individual with very unique, different goals from the whole group, but we're all kind of lifting the same. So it's kind of hard. It's tough.
Yeah, I understand. From a logistical perspective, I understand.
So I don't fault them at all.
Yeah. What I was going to say is I'm very impressed for someone who's never lifted. You're actually a pretty strong dude.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
Because you did the 3-rep max pull-ups.
Yeah.
You're 90?
90 pounds. Yeah.
And you've never done, I mean, you've probably done pull-ups, but you've probably
Pull-ups
never
was the
done
only thing, but I've never done really weighted
pull-ups.
No.
And that was the first time you ever did a 3-rep max. Yeah. And I've been lifting for, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. I think my 3RM is 90 pounds.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's go. But I do think, but it's weird because like there's just always been this natural strength, which is kind of interesting because I mean, my dad would argue, well, my dad or even the scientists that we worked with in USRPT, he always wrote like weights don't float. And the theory behind that is you don't need to do Dryland to be powerful in the pool. And it is interesting if you look at my whole career, having done no weights. And then like when I went to ASU, I destroyed all the guys on power.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
The first time I ever did a rack, I like outpulled everyone. Speed was higher, intensity was higher. And I was like, this is weird.
Why do you think that is?
Well, but I just think because I was resistance training my whole life, but specifically. So it's like.
But you never did parachutes or towers or anything?
Nothing.
So
nothing.
How are you resistance
I just
training?
think, swimming's the resistance,
I see.
you know? So like, obviously like that's just the pull and my body weight. So I think it was just more that maybe the strength applied was more efficient.
It was stronger.
And so then when I do put the weight onto it, I'm like, have more grab. I don't know.
You probably had, you've probably been sprinting so much that your neural capacity is just incredibly high.
Yeah. Could be that. Yeah.
Speaking of neural capacity, do you know when your CNS is fried? Do you have a method of knowing?
Not really. No. Are there methods to like test that? Like how do you?
There are. Yeah. There's something called like the CNS tap test. Like, so you can download an app.
Is that
and you try to tap as fast as you can,
that
and then you have an average. They have devices that you can put on your
like neural
your
stuff.
head, and then it measures. I forget what the output is, but you can measure it that way. But for me, like I can feel it kind of in my hands. Like when I'm in the water, I'm like, oh, I'm a little off today.
Interesting. Yeah.
Do you have anything like that?
I think physically, I know it. A lot of it too is like fatigue based.
Yeah.
I think our brain and our body is so connected, and I'm also so in tune to it because I do everything so routinely, or I eat a certain way. So it's like when anything does fall apart, yeah, you feel it in the water, or you just feel it after the practice. Like okay, like I'm gassed.
Yeah.
But I never really tested it. I'd actually be curious. I should probably get into that.
Yeah. Talk to me about your vlogs.
They're coming
When
back.
did you start vlogging?
I started, I think my first
When you were
vlog,
like 10 years old?
No, actually, wait. No, 14.
Wow.
Yeah, my very first vlog ever was Junior Pan Packs Maui. It was the first team I had ever made. Um, I think I had a GoPro, and I remember Paul Powers was on the team, and he was also making videos. Yeah, and so we like made this video, and it was super fun. I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool."
You were
And then,
like comfortable on camera off the bat.
for the most part, yeah. And I'd always like, even in Kansas growing up, like I had drones, like I would film myself riding dirt bikes or fishing, or like I kind of was a gear snob. Like I loved tech.
You're like Sid.
Yeah, it was just so fun to me. Like I could sit down for hours and I'd learn things about microphones or cameras or like how to set it up and then like what quality to shoot. But it's because I grew up watching Casey Neistat.
Same.
Like who are the other vloggers? Peter McKinnon, Sam Colder was amazing. Yeah, so all these guys, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like, I want to create story. And so I always just run and gun, and it was fun for me. And then GoPro eventually started sending me gear, and like I became like the GoPro vlogger guy in the swimming world. And then Calvin started vlogging.
Yeah.
And then
Were you first or was he first?
I think Calvin was first. I think
Okay.
he had already, because he's a bit older than me.
Yeah, he's a dinosaur.
Yeah. And so I remember watching his stuff and I was like, oh, it's like, because his was very like cinematic. Like he put a lot of effort into it. And I was like, I don't have the time for this. But yeah, and then Cody started. And I think the reason, I mean, it was tough. Like it's just consistency's hard. But yeah, so like I love vlogging. I love creating content. Started when I was 14. And then it kind of evolved into like, I think the environment shifted where it's like YouTube AdSense was not good. So it's hard to make money. And that kind of started when I like first got into YouTube and I was like, oh great. Like I can't make millions now as a YouTuber.
You're making $7 per video.
Yeah. So then I was like, I pushed Instagram a lot and my following on Instagram is much higher than YouTube. And so it's easier to create short form content. So I've been kind of laser focused on that. But now I realize there is such a good platform on YouTube for long form storytelling because, you know, people want to see a more in-depth side of my career in swimming. And I have even considered, like, I've been thinking about this is like the whole live streaming thing, because live streaming is huge. I don't know if I would want to be on camera all day like that, because outside of the training and everything else, like life's kind of boring. Like I'm not going to fabricate like everything's exciting and awesome all the time. Like I don't want to do that. But even with my vlogs too, like the goal is to be super authentic. So anything I'm putting in there, like this is my real day.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to jump on and be like, what's up? Like we're going to 6 a.m. practice. I'm so stoked. It's like, morning guys, we're going to the training. Yeah. So it's just like being super real. And it is fun because like you get to bring people in. And then I even like, it was a couple weeks ago, I went back and like watched videos from like 2020 and I'm like, it's kind of crazy the places I've been. Like, so it's a cool way to document life.
Yeah, it's like a diary.
To catch up and see things and go back and learn where you came from. And so, yeah, I think that's what's really special too, like about what you guys have done and created here is, you know, even looking back at Westmont, it's like I have the most photos and most videos I've ever had at a swim meet. It's just because I had help with someone creating some content. And so being able to document is huge. I think it's so fun. And it brings people in. Like I'm sure you've seen your guys' numbers go crazy because it's like people want to digest cool content, especially when it comes to the athletes that they follow. So
are you going to make a Westmont vlog?
So I didn't end up filming anything in Westmont. That would be epic. Okay, so I guess I did film a Westmont vlog.
Sid will share it.
Shout out to Sid. So yeah, so I've got footage for Westmont now. That's awesome. My plan was actually originally I was gonna just do so with time drops and all the data I had from the prelim 100 breast, semifinal 100 breast, and the final 100 breast. My goal is to do a full race dissect of one to the next. So it'd be a long video, but it'd be
Sid
a little more.
has all your race videos too.
That would be epic. Yeah. Oh, that'd be so sweet. Yeah, to get multiple angles would be huge. And I think it would be a nerdy video. It won't be like my typical like, good morning guys, we're waking up, go to the pool, like run and gun style vlog.
But people want to see this side too.
Yeah, and I think it's important too. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that and set up kind of like a talking head, and it'd be fun. Yeah.
Did you film like not behind the scenes, but like when we were talking and like the on deck stuff?
It's kind of hard, but yeah.
Yeah,
Get some of that.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, I'll sift through it. That'd be fun.
Where do people go wrong with vlogging?
Consistency. That's where I go wrong. Like the biggest thing. I think I wish I didn't care as much about the quality, because I would probably be so much farther in my vlogging career, and I could have way better sponsors, and like not better sponsors, but like more sponsors and like opportunity there. Because I think I get so afraid to put something out that's not like, wow, this is exciting to watch. And at the end of the day, no one really cares.
Yeah.
So like I think if you can upload weekly or bi-weekly, even bi-weekly is too far. It's too long. Like you have to be uploading weekly or twice a week. And for me, it's just so hard because I still have to be the fastest swimmer in the world. So it's like,
Right.
you know, like
vlogging is not your full-time job.
Yeah, no, it's not. And like on top of training and feeding myself and resting, recovering, and then doing stuff for brands and like actual sponsors, like that's where the money is. So like I'm not making money from social media other than the fact that it's a platform that allows me to have a sponsor. So
do you have ads in your vlogs and stuff?
I do. I put ads in there just from like whatever the AdSense thing is, but it doesn't generate, because the views aren't high enough to generate like an income to live off of.
But do you do like product placement and that kind of thing in your vlogs, or not really?
I'm open to it, and I do. Yeah. So I've had some vlogs in the past, like with Lumen or like random things where they'll be like, okay, like we're gonna pay for a whole video, or we'll pay for a 30-second segment, or just make sure it's featured. But that's something that I want to do more intentionally now. It's like, but my hard thing is like I still edit everything. I used to have a good editor, and long story short, that ended because of my agent. But it's just like I need to find people that are quality editors that I can trust. But then also, you know, when you're investing in it, like right now it's expensive because I don't have someone else paying for it. So it's like finding that. So that's the goal, is to delegate. My dream, and like I've been talking about this for a while, is like I've got a 4-bedroom home, or 3 bedrooms. And so I have a spare room that I would love to just, if I can get one more contract big enough that I can hire someone to basically live full time with me to create reels, carousel posts, like photos, and
shoot
and edit a vlog every week, would be game changer.
Yeah, because then you can focus.
Because then I can just do my thing.
Right.
They can help me shoot all of the branded content, shoot all of the social content, and then it just builds.
Yeah.
You know, and then they become a part of the team in that way, that like we can, you know, make money. So that is the biggest hurdle right now. It's like figuring out, how do you create content consistently enough that brands will throw dollars at it.
Yeah. You listen, you hear that, brands? Help a brother out.
It's gonna be huge. Like, yeah, no, I'm excited. And there's some things in the works, there's some stuff up the pipeline that I've been chasing for years.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing, is it's consistent. Like, a lot of people look at it and think, oh, you just got that sponsorship, that's so quick and easy, cool. It's like, no, I've been like
working on
reaching out to them for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Talking to them.
It's gnarly. So yeah, people don't want to just give you money. You got to create value, and that's the hard thing. It's like just making sure that there's value there.
Yeah,
so.
That's the thing that grinds. I talked about this a lot on this podcast, but the thing that grinds my gears is like swimmers just expect to be paid.
Oh, it's awful.
They're like, oh, swimmers make no money, but then all you do is just swim. Like, you have to do something.
That's the thing, is like you can't expect like. Yeah, you got to create personality. Like, if you're boring, a brand doesn't want to put money behind that.
Sorry.
So,
that's all it is.
Tough. Yeah.
If you were to give advice to up and coming vlogger or influencer or whatever, what kind of advice would you give?
I think find your niche. So I was really lucky, and swimming is my niche. It's hard for me sometimes because I want to step out of it. Like I would rather post a surf vlog, but when I do that, nobody cares to watch it. No, like it just doesn't interact well, and the algorithm doesn't push it. So I think find your niche, stick to it. Don't try to kind of step too far out of it. I mean, you can do collaborations. That's what my plan is, do collaborations to bring viewers into my niche, essentially. And then consistency. Like, even if it's like a shorter vlog or a more like a lower quality, rather upload consistently than skip and upload. That's my hard part. I just get lazy and it gets hard to create. But my excuse is like, even like I go to Westmont, I brought all my camera gear. I have everything.
You should have gave it to Sid.
Yeah, but it's just like I want to, but then I realize I'm also my main job here is to
Swim
perform
fast.
and to win,
Yeah.
and it's like I can't
Lock in.
distraction, especially as an athlete. Any form of distraction, even like relationship distractions. Like relationships are hard as an athlete. I think like vlogging's hard as an athlete. Doing anything that takes away from just breathing, visualizing, eating well, sleeping, training, like racing, it does. It takes away eventually, and that's like my biggest fear. And I think there were seasons where I was like vlogging really consistently, but I was swimming like ass.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like locked in on the racing. Like you got to be focused.
Is there anything? Have you seen our vlogs? Some of
I've
them?
seen some of them. Yeah, they're amazing.
As a person who's been vlogging longer than us, is there anything in our vlogs that you see that's like an obvious like, hey, you got to do that to improve it
Oh, to improve your guys'
for
vlogs?
us? Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't really change a whole lot because what's awesome and what I love about you guys is you have a storyline that you're sticking to, and it's like the pursue potential to LA type thing.
Yeah.
Like this is the road to LA, which is what I want to do. Like I'm like, this is the journey that you have to sell the story, and you guys have a series that is uploaded consistently. I wouldn't change anything. I think it's awesome because it gives people something to look forward to the next week.
Yeah.
You know, versus it being like, oh, I have no idea what's coming next. Like it's like kind of random. And so, because I think the only way it works with like the whole randomized thing is like if you're uploading like every day, like you look at like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, like Casey Neistat, it's like I'm on a mini adventure every day, but you guys are you're telling a story. And by the end of that story, you know, they're hoping for a result, which is like Calvin makes the team, Marina makes the team, like everybody, you know, hits their potential, which is awesome if it works. You know?
Yeah. It could.
And
it could
even
all
and
not
even
work.
and even if it doesn't, though, there's still a story in there.
Yeah, and
You know
at
what I
least we
mean?
put it all on the line, and at least we
Exactly.
pursued
Yeah,
it. That's
exactly.
the important part.
Yeah.
Man, I was hoping words of wisdom, like how can we? Because you've obviously been doing it a long time, and I
Yeah.
wanted to pick your brain on how do we.
Well, but the
keep
thing is, like, because
improving
the quality is so high already. I do think. I mean, you guys are already doing like athlete features, right? Like, because I think the next one's like Calvin, right?
Calvin Doc, yeah.
Yeah, the Calvin doc. So like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
because,
we're gonna do one for each athlete.
and I think that's so important because a lot of the times people will probably watch the general road to LA and they won't know their story. They
Yeah.
won't know who they are.
Yep.
So it's hard for them to get by or get behind. Like, okay, I want to root for them. So I think that's important, is like being able to tell their story so that when people see them on camera, they're like, oh, I understand them and I know them. So then they become invested.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once a viewer is invested or basically subscribed to the
To
channel,
the person,
then you've got a viewer for life.
Yeah.
And then they share it to their people, they share it to their audience, and it just kind of grows.
Yeah. Herbie and I had this conversation in Singapore how like people aren't watching Worlds that much because they don't know who the 8 guys in the finals are.
No.
But what we were talking about is like the UFC. They do a really good job before
Yeah.
every main fight. They do the UFC embedded of vlogging
Yeah.
what their personality is like, what are their wives like, what are the kids like,
Right.
and then the Drive to Survive, the F1
Yeah.
Netflix doc. They do a really good job of highlighting
And
each person.
there's been weird, like I was a part of some stuff, talks at least, and like that coming in swimming, but it's so hard to get buy-in because the market's so small, you know? And I think people realize it's hard to work with athletes that don't want to like open up to that.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we have a big enough pool of athletes that are interested in opening their lives to scrutiny or even just viewership. I think everyone's a little too reserved.
How come you're not like that? How come you're not afraid of the scrutiny?
I mean, I think one, because I was scrutinized from so early, so I was like, it can't get any worse. So I was just like, I've been
hating my whole life.
It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like life's too fun to really care.
That's the other thing I noticed about you in Westmont is like you're like really positive. I mean, it's probably from your dad too. You're like because you're his son, but like you're positive all the time. Like even after like a kind of a bad swim, you're like, oh, we can work on this or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think I was raised to have a very growth mentality, like growth mindset. So it's like if something didn't go right, we'll figure it out. And I think too, I don't know, I've been around miserable people enough in my life to be like, the reason they're miserable is because they choose to be miserable. Like no circumstance is actually going to change it. You know, having more money is not going to change it. Having a world record is not going to change it. Having a gold medal is certainly not going to change it. And I think I just choose to be excited about where we're at, recognize that life is good. I'm very blessed. I have a healthy body and people that love me, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of a bonus.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it does, and it's fun. Like, you know, you can kind of build on the other, and there's a lot of things to be gained in this world. But at the end of the day, you're gonna sit on your deathbed, and you're not gonna be thinking, "Oh, I want my gold plaque from my YouTube vlogs." Like
100,000 subs.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, it's just no. Life's too short to be miserable.
Yeah. I think you're very misunderstood in the swimming world. The thing Calvin and I were talking a lot about in Westmont was like, because I don't know if you and Calvin knew each other very well, but we kind of got to hang out a lot in Westmont. And Calvin was like, wow, Michael's like a really good dude.
That's funny.
Because I think he had this image maybe from the internet, like, oh, he's kind of weird or whatever. But like we hung out and we're like, oh,
that's so
this
funny.
guy's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And that's interesting because like too, so I knew Calvin when I was like 15. We went to South Africa so I'm dual national.
Yeah.
We went to South Africa to discover and see, well, am I going to swim for South Africa in the Rio Olympics? And we lived there for like 3 months. We raced at Kings Park. So I was hanging out with Chad. I was hanging out with Calvin when he was still swimming the 200 free. And we didn't like talk a lot. It was just more like in passing. But yeah, I think even then, I don't know what I think at that time we were still kind of that crazy family doing a weird thing that people didn't know who we were. Yeah. And I totally was like fine with it because I understood that people's criticism only comes from like a lack of understanding
and insecurity.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think a lot of people were like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to do it myself, but they just couldn't.
They couldn't.
Yeah. But no, and I have so much grace for them, and I realized the longer we were around, people got to know us. And I think maybe partially that's kind of why I enjoyed vlogging, is because I think I realized no one could tell my story better than myself. And I think especially, you know, during the COVID stuff, like I had such a bad experience where I assumed everyone had my best interest, and then I would give an interview, and then the Rolling Stones would write a hit piece on how awful I am.
Oh, you got so much hate for that.
Yeah. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so I think I realized like I would rather create my own platform and be my own person, and people can come to the source versus relying on someone to say good things about me in an article or an interview.
I respect that. Way to stand your ground, dude.
I appreciate it.
Because like at the time it was like, oh, you have to do the vaccine or whatever. And then now we know what we know about it, right? And it's like, oh, you stood your ground, and now everyone's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's wild. I think like only 15% of the world decided to not stay, like to be unvaxxed. Like there's some weird, like gnarly studies, like 15%. Wow. For an experimental, like maybe this will work. So
it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I don't know. That was an easy decision because I think my whole career I was already criticized for training race pace or training with my dad or stuff. So like doing things differently wasn't hard for me.
I've been hating my whole life.
I was like, it's gonna come. And it's like, may as well be ready for it.
How long we been doing this?
1 hour 28.
1 hour 28. Can you leave us a question?
Oh man.
For the next guest? I actually don't know who the next guest is going to be. Do we? No, we don't know.
I think a question I kind of like hearing from some people is, what's the most valuable piece of life advice you've received from a mentor or friend? So like something that stuck with you. What has someone shared with you that has impacted your life significantly, or something? However you word that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just life. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like,
What's yours?
I think for me, so I used to have this mentor we worked with a while back, and I think the biggest thing that stuck with me was it was more so a question that he would ask after an event, and it just helped me gain perspective. And he asked you, how did that race or that experience or whatever, how did that race draw you closer to God? How did it draw you closer to others? And how did it bring you joy? And so for me, I kind of started to preface everything in my life and experience with like, okay, did this draw me closer to people? Did this bring me joy? And how did I recognize that this was a gift? Essentially, that's like the God question, is like, it doesn't just happen coincidentally. Like there's a purpose behind it. I believe there's a purpose behind everything. And so I think being able to phrase it like that, it helps you step back and be like, okay, even if it was a shit race, you're like, this still drew me closer to people. It still could bring me joy because I learned something. And I recognize that there's a plan in the failure or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's an impactful thing for me. And then one other thing from him as well was whenever I was stressed about going into a race, he would remind me he's like, hey, go and race like you're racing your friends to the dock and back. And so growing up, you would do this. You'd be like, hey, we're going to go to the dock and back. But you would give everything to win that race. Yeah. And there's no reward at the end. So it's like I would show up kind of with that, like that same zeal to a race or to an event. It's like, oh, I'm going to the dock and back with my friends. And
that's a great one.
I think it takes the pressure off of like, hey, there's money on the line, there's gold medals on the line and world records. It's like, no, I'm just going to the dock and back. But man, I am going to give everything to go to the dock and back. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Okay, your Instagram is at Swimmer Michael.
Instagram Swimmer Michael.
Your YouTube is
just Michael Andrew.
Michael Andrew.
Yeah.
Anything else?
TikTok Swimmer Michael. We're on there, but yeah, stay tuned for the vlogs, and then
any future projects that we can announce or plug or.
So, this is in the pipeline. My dad and I are thinking about starting a podcast in our own way, and I think it's just because we have a lot to say. And similar to the vlogs is like, I think being able to document it in like spoken word is kind of an interesting thing. It scares me. It does scare me. Yeah. Like, I mean, power to anyone that starts a podcast.
Is it scary because of your dad and what he might say?
Partially. That's a big part of it. But it's like, man, like I'm such a statistics guy.
Yeah.
Like I love numbers and like data, but I'm like, the amount of podcasts that make money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I want to add another thing to waste time? So it's like, I want to be creating legacy and doing things that are so I can like provide for a family one day. So I don't know, but I do think it could be fun. I think we could have some fun with it. So yeah, maybe a podcast in the future.
What are you going to call it?
Oh, Dumb and Dumber. I don't know. I have no idea. I was just like, it'd be crazy. That would be, actually, I'll start exploring some names. So that could be fun. And then, I think next is just racing. We've got Pan Packs coming up the end of this year.
Yeah.
And then always content, like always creating something fun.
Yeah.
So I have some cool brands I'm talking to now that I'm really prayerful that it lands. So we'll see.
What's your next meet?
I think it's going to be Sacramento.
Okay. You're going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like May 20th or something.
Yeah. Like I think that would be good for us. That gives us a good amount of time to train, be home.
Okay. We'll probably miss you there. Have you been to Grand Challenge in Irvine?
I don't know if I've ever swum it. There was one year I was close to coming to it, but I know of it.
Yeah, that's the same weekend as Sacramento, and so we were initially talking about going to Sacramento, but if I could stay in Irvine,
it's so close. Yeah, you save
I'd
so
much
much.
rather just stay in Irvine.
Is there prize money?
Typically. Yeah, but I think
it's like a couple $100.
It's like $300 or something.
Yeah,
it's not the $1,500.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing. So I think a lot of the pros are going to Fort Lauderdale
in April.
Yeah, instead of Sacramento.
Whoa, is there a big prize money?
No, not a lot. I mean, it's the organizers of who did the Fort Lauderdale the Pro Series last year,
Okay.
but since it's not a Pro Series, there's not like a ton of prize money. But I think the Texas groups and like Florida,
They're all
most of them
going,
are
right?
going there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, Sacramento's gonna be empty.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
I'll make some money.
Yeah, pay for your flight that
Yeah.
way and make some extra cash.
And it's easy to trip from Hawaii. It's like it's just
Yeah, you don't have to go all the way to Florida.
San Diego to here or LA. Yeah. So
All right. Anyways, thanks for being on.
Yeah, appreciate
Any
it. It was fun.
final closing thoughts?
no, man, we're just blessed, and ASP is doing some epic things. So I'm stoked for you guys, and hopefully be on the pod again soon.
Let's do it. All right.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.